Hey there, 2023. What an incredible year to start a business as an online business manager. Now, if you've been following me for a while, you know that I've done a few videos on getting started as an online business manager, but I'm really hyped up for 2023 because I really think that this is going to be such an incredible year for OBMs, and I'm going to be sharing exactly why in today's video. Bye-bye 2021. Bye-bye 2022. 2023 is the year that I want you to get started either as an OBM or scaling your business as an online business manager. I'm Sarah Noked, founder of OBM School, and I help empower online business managers to really grow successful businesses that are profitable, that have you working with the right clients so that you can really live your life by design, which is what we all want as online support professionals. And if you're here today, then I'm excited to share with you some tips that I have around getting started in 2023. Now, when I got started back in 2009, it was a very different space. I want to paint the picture here of the things that were coming up for me when I started. And the number one thing for me was like, does anyone know what an online business manager is or does? And to be honest, back in 2009, not a lot of people knew that. Back in 2015, not a lot of people knew what an online business manager was. And in 2023, it is just an incredible time to get started because there are a lot of awesome businesses, both online and offline, that you can work with. It is more comfortable than ever tech-wise to work from home. You know, we've all got a lot of the things at our fingertips to make this work for us. It's just the way of the future, right? These digital things, right? You've seen like artificial intelligence, people posting all those crazy AI photos of themselves. Also, there's artificial intelligent bots that can help us with all these things. So with that comes more need for online business managers. And when I got started, it wasn't as popular and it was a little bit more of a struggle. And that's why if you're watching this here today, I really want to give you that one last little push to get off your bum and get moving to start to grow your business. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. How to get your business growing off the ground in 2023. The first thing is that you really have to make peace with the competition. Truth be told, there's a lot of competition. I'm not going to stand here and put fear into your heart, strike fear into your heart. Definitely not. But I do want you to know that, with industries and over the years, the evolution of things, when I first started, there wasn't a lot of competition. Now, there is a hell of a lot more competition. So much so that, dare I say, online business management is becoming an industry more than a role. Much like we saw with the virtual assistant role that later became an industry, online business management is turning into the same thing. And what does that mean for us? It means that there's just a lot of space and need, right? It really determines and is indicative of the health of an industry. So yes, there's a lot of competition, but also yes, this is a great time to get started and to really embrace this as being a really growth-driven industry. And that's so exciting for me, especially looking back on what it was like 10 or 15 years ago. Wow, things are so much easier to use. There's way more clients. Guys, people didn't even know what OBMs were back in the day. With that in mind, and knowing that, okay, it's a little bit more of a competitive landscape, we really need to buckle down and get serious about our desire to grow an OBM business. And this sort of sits at the basis of everything, and that is your why. You really have to know why you're doing what you're doing. It's not about what you're doing and how to do what you're doing. It's about really inside of you, what is encouraging you, what is at the heart of your why for making this business work. And when I got started all those years ago, for me, it was really about giving my kids the feeling of a stay-at-home mom in the reality of the world today, which is like, that's not realistic. Everybody needs to work, even though we have a dual, income family. Like we all need to work to make ends meet. So I wanted to give my kids that stay-at-home feel of a mom who was flexible and available, but in the reality of the world that we lived in. So for me, that was really at the core of my why in making this work, was to be available for my children. And at that point in my life, I couldn't couldn't think of a more important why than having flexibility to be available for my children and my family. And over the years, it's really evolved. My kids are getting older. My daughter is like turning 10 this year. She was just a little wee baby, even when I got started, it was even before I had kids. So when she was a baby, I was growing my business, and then I had 2 sons. I've got 3 kids now, and my business looks a lot different, and my why looks a lot different than it did then. Now I'm way more focused on paying it forward, like with this YouTube channel, and just investing my time and energy in helping other women and other people be able to scale wildly successful businesses in their pajamas without leaving home. I mean, that's really what it is for me now, because I've been able to sort of check off and be available for my kids. That's not going away, right? I've been doing this for the last decade. I'm not going anywhere anytime soon, but you need to get clear about your why. And this is actually one of the first things that we do when we run OBM Week, which is a free quarterly event that we usually do. We don't do it every quarter, but we do it quite often. The first thing we do with our students is we get clear on what our why is, because your why is so indicative about what you really want. So it's about clarity about what you really want, but it's also about clarity around, attracting the ideal client. Because one of the other really big question marks we get from new OBMs is like, who on earth is my ideal client? What's my niche? And then we get so fixated on having an ideal client and a niche that we don't actually build the business, or we can't see anything else but like, oh, I don't know who my client is, so I can't work with anybody else. When you get clear around your why, like for me, it was about being a mom. So I immediately started to attract other clients who were mothers, and my ideal clients became mothers, and so on and so forth. And obviously it evolved so much, but if I had been paralyzed in perfection, I wouldn't have grown as fast as I did. So make peace around imperfection. Give yourself some space to figure out who your ideal client is, because it does take time. It doesn't happen overnight, but it will evolve. But just know, like I said at the beginning of this video, there's so much out there than there was before, so you can experiment with all of these things. But that brings me to my next point. You want to get clear on your why so you can figure out who your client is, but you also want to have the right systems in place so you can avoid working with the nightmare no money Mary client. So I've coined this no money Mary. We talk a lot about this inside of OBM school. This client who is not an ideal fit for OBM services. And there's no shame in being a no money Mary. We all start somewhere. When we start our businesses as online business managers, we are no money Marys. There's no shame in that. But as an online business manager, you need to be making sure that you're working with the type of client that can grow with your business and be there. Because I don't want you hustling for retainer clients all the time. I want you to get a few really solid clients, 3 or 4 on your retainer that you absolutely love working with and that love working with you. And that's gonna really grow your confidence as an online business manager that will propel you into continuing to get more clarity around your niche. Okay, and like, to be honest, guys, I never niched. In all the years, I niched more on the size of the businesses that I worked with, because that's what supported my agency, than a specific type of client or industry. Part of what happens with naturally, and this is just human psychology, is that we become paralyzed with trying to make everything perfect. So make peace with imperfection. Make peace with imperfection around what your notion of that ideal client looks like, and be open to experiment, but have the right systems in place. So what does having the right systems in place look like? Proper client intake, proper method for having a sales conversation. And these are all things that we do dive into inside of OBM School. So I'm gonna plug that right in here. If you are looking to get started as an online business manager and you want to accelerate as fast as you can, join us inside of the OBM School Accelerator, because that is where we work on all of the things that I'm talking about here. And that is where you're gonna get more clarity around who your client is and what those systems actually need to look like, because we've got all the templates for you. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. Can you reinvent the wheel? Of course you can. You've already found this YouTube channel. You can peruse and binge on all my videos. I share so much because I just wanna give back, because I'm very happy with how I've been able to achieve the success as an online business manager. And literally, guys, I've been working from home for the last decade, and I'm damn proud of that, because When I got started, there was a lot of people in my life who were fearful and scared for me. Like, what are you doing? You're going into that online space? What's the internet? I mean, now it's different because everybody's like on the internet and social media and all the things, but you just have to really remember that you have a lot of opportunity now, a lot of noise. There's noise with all the things. And yes, we curate it beautifully inside of OBM School, but you can also, pull the pieces together for yourself. I want you to have a business that you can be proud of, that you can continue to grow. So know that you have everything at your fingertips. If you have the time to invest in pulling all that together for yourself, then by all means, you should go ahead and do that. If time is an issue and you want to invest financially, then absolutely join us inside of OBM School and you're gonna make that learning curve move a little bit faster for yourself. Along with the being able to properly screen clients, you need to also understand that, as I mentioned at the beginning, competition is real and you have to be willing to put yourself out there in ways that will make you very uncomfortable to begin with. One of the things that it will never go away is this putting yourself out there with personal brands. So a lot of the times when OBMs are starting their online business management businesses, they're concerned about what other people will think. They're concerned about putting themselves out there and being judged or having their face across a banner. And one of the things that's helped me over the years is sort of separating my personal from business, right? So I might be putting myself out there. I'm splashed on my banner on my website. It was very hard for me to do that for the first few years. But once I made peace with my personal brand and I was like, actually, I'm gonna lean into this and I'm not gonna, feel awkward about this or make people, make me feel bad about what this looks like. I don't care. I'm gonna be unapologetic about my personal brand. And honest to God, the faster you get making peace with that and putting yourself out there, and that might mean, spending time making a list again and getting clarity around your why about why this needs to work for you. Maybe that will serve to push you to recognize that people are gonna judge you. And yeah, the online space can be a little bit funky and sometimes mean, and there's, trolls out there and all that stuff. But I think about the plus sides of things. And, if I'm getting clients and I'm attracting my ideal person by putting myself out there, then I have no shame in that. So embrace your personal brand. It will serve to help differentiate you from the competition. And in this loud, noisy AF space, you definitely want to be able to stand out from the crowd. And that personal brand, that is going to make you really stand out. Now, the next thing is making peace with investing. Now, I unapologetically plugged my OBM school in earlier. I'm not going to talk about it again, but it's also about investing your time. You have to be unapologetic about carving out time to make this work. This business is not going to evolve out of thin air by itself. You have to spend time getting clear around your ideas, your why, building out your own systems, likely being your own virtual assistant and building out your website. Because that's what I tell people. I'm like, a lot of us feel like we need to start back at square one again or go to this random virtual assistant role or, doing all these random things because we need this VA experience. I'm like, you're gonna get so much VA experience from growing your own business as an online business manager because you're gonna be your own VA. You're gonna be bootstrapping, you're gonna be checking out tutorials on YouTube, you're gonna be doing all the things. So don't you worry about that. But you do have to carve out time for yourself, and that means time blocking. I've got a video about time blocking. Time blocking is my best friend, and I want it to be yours too. When you time block, then you are dedicating time to building your business, because if you don't do that, then you will always default to giving your time away to other people or to your family or feeling like there are other things that are more important, and then time will go by and time will go by. You will get discouraged from ultimately growing your business. So you can invest your time, and you can also invest and join a program or a course or a mastermind or coaching or OBM school. I'm gonna leave the OBM school details below here. Again, if you are just getting started, Accelerator is amazing. If you are, already working as an OBM and you're just watching this video because, there's just, still really good, valuable information in here for those of you who are scaling, then you're gonna wanna join us inside of the accreditation inside of OBM School. So you can check out all of our programs at obmschool.com. The other thing that I wanted to say here, and this is really important, and it sort of harks back to what I was just saying, but Don't start small. Don't feel like you need to start at some arbitrary VA role or some, saying yes to all these things or work for free like I did when I started. You don't need to play small. You can lean into your corporate backstory, and you can lean into getting testimonials from people you worked with at corporate, and you can lean into things that you did in your 9 to 5, odd jobs you had in high school. Like I got so much sales experience from all these odd jobs that I had in high school. So I really want to emphasize the fact that what I see mostly inside of OBM school with our students is the natural default to go to this place that's very small and to build from there. And I really encourage our students, anyone who will listen to me, to lean into the skills that you already have and start with those. So if you've been project managing in corporate, or if you have some experience with team, or you have some experience with tech, start with that and build your offerings around that and find clients who need those sorts of services, and then move on, and gradually and naturally, no doubt, you will continue to add on more and more and more services until you feel like a very well-rounded online business manager. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes time. And entrepreneurship is one of those journeys that we really need to embrace instead of just, looking for the finish line. Because there's no finish line. It just continues to evolve and evolve and evolve. And it's so funny because it brings me to my next point, which is that the online business management role is continuously evolving. When I started back in 2009, nobody knew what an online business manager was. The role was pretty much non-existent. And I used to go to events and things and advertising the fact that I have OBM services, and people didn't even know what an OBM was. I'd spend a lot of time educating the client. And yes, we still have to spend a lot of time educating the client, but nowadays, more or less, people know what an online business manager is. So hallelujah for that. But with that comes the fact that this is an industry now. It's not a role. So what we're seeing, and this is so interesting for me, and this is yay, such a juicy little nugget for 2023, but the OBM role is becoming way more specialized. We have OBMs specializing in launch management, specializing in project management, specializing in team management, specializing in specific technologies. It's a very vast industry now, way different than it has been in the past. And that to me is so exciting, because we saw this with the virtual assistant industry and how that's exploded. And now it's sort of making OBM mainstream. And I have to kind of chuckle at that and at all those people who said to me at the beginning, oh, OBM, I don't know what that is. And guys, this was 2009. We're now going into 2023, and wow, that's crazy to me. I've been doing this and working in my pajamas for as long as I have, but if I'm a testament to anything, it's that you can do this. It doesn't matter where in the world you are or what your background is from your past life in corporate or whatever kind of work experience you have. We all have experience that serves as the foundations for management. These are a lot of soft skills. So when you're investing in yourself, just to sort of speak back to that for a second, remember that leadership and that a lot of these soft skills like human intelligence and being empathetic and being a critical thinker, these are all skills that we are pumping iron. Leadership, pumping iron. Empathy, understanding for our client, having a growth mindset. These are all beautiful things that we need to constantly flex and grow. If there's one thing that I know about entrepreneurship is that the journey is, wow, highs and lows, and not for the faint of heart. And I don't mean this to discourage you, but I want you to know that it's worth it. It is so worth it to get your business as an online business manager going in 2023, and I am so here to support you on that journey. And if you're still watching this video, you're still here with me, I want to share with you an amazing resource that we have, and it is our OBM School Starter Kit. You can download it. I'm going to leave the links below in the description, or you can head over to obmschool.com/starter and get our starter kit with lots of beautiful things to really help you get clarity and just more on what I'm speaking about in this video, but just putting your pedal to the metal and deciding that 2023 is going to be the year that you let this business take off and you stop blocking yourself from having the kind of success and freedom that you such desire and can attain. And I hope to see you inside of OBM School at some point. But until then, Enjoy all the resources on our YouTube channel. Don't forget to hit subscribe, and I'll see you in our next video.